Hi, hope everything's going well. Here's some information that you might find useful for your upcoming test. In this video, we're going to cover two main topics. The first of which is when you have a triangle, how do you A, figure out the side lengths, like possible to have a triangle, and B, if you have two side lengths, but you know that it is a right triangle, can you solve for the third triangle side length? So let's find out. So the first rule gets into the fact of whether or not you can make a triangle with three given sides. So if a triangle has three sides, like all triangles do, the rule for triangle side length theorem, I think it's called, is that the sum of any two sides has to be larger than any third side. So for example, if you have A plus B, it has to be more than whatever the value C is. So too, if you have B plus C, it has to be more than whatever A is. And lastly, if you have C plus A, it has to be greater than what B is. So we'll get back to that in just a second. Also, it's important to note the following rule. So this is called the Pythagorean theorem. It says that in a right triangle, you know that the side lengths of A, B, and C, where C is the hypotenuse, the longest leg of a triangle, you know that A squared plus B squared is equal to the value C squared. So in this instance, we can solve for the third side length, or any third side length, given two of the side lengths. So now we're going to do a problem that will test us in both of these categories. So we have side lengths of 56, 90, and an unknown value, x. So the question is, write the range of values that x can be. Well, we know that any two sides has to be greater than the third side. So we know that 56 plus 90, whatever that is, it has to be greater than x. So 56 plus 90, whatever that is, it has to be greater than what the value x is. So that's a way that you know that this triangle will work. Also, it's important to note that x plus 90 must be greater than 56, which is obvious, and also x plus 56 must be greater than 90. So those are some rules you can write about it. On your test, you might be asked to solve for two values that x can be to form a right triangle. So to solve this problem, there's a very important equation that you have to know, and it's listed right here. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So for this one, you're going to assume that there are two options. So we're going to draw little squiggly lines to assume that there are two options. So in a right triangle, you have something called the hypotenuse. It's listed here. And the hypotenuse is the longest leg. So there are two possibilities for the value x. The first possibility is where x is the hypotenuse, x equals c, c being the hypotenuse up here. Or another value is x could be equal to b. So x can be greater than 90 and be the value of the hypotenuse, or it could be not greater than 90, less than 90, and it would be a leg in the triangle. So to solve for the instance where x is the hypotenuse, you would set up an equation that looks like this. So 56 and 90 would be the legs of the triangle, and x would be the hypotenuse. So we can write that one of the legs squared, so let's call that 56 squared, plus the other leg squared, which is 90, plus 90 squared, is equal to the hypotenuse squared. And we said that x is equal to the hypotenuse, so we can set that equal to x squared. You do a little bit of math, and you get that something is equal to x squared. Let me do that really quickly. On our little calculator. What is it? 56 squared plus 90 squared. That is equal to 11,236. So it's equal to 11,236. And then we can take the square root of that value. 11,236. Square root button. Insert square root. That's awkward. I'm sorry. Let's try that again. Square root of 11,236, right? And that will give us x is equal to 106. So x, you're going to take the square root of both sides. square root. So x is equal to 106. But there's another possibility. X could be not the hypotenuse and have 90 be the hypotenuse. Because you know that 56 can't be the hypotenuse because the hypotenuse is the longest side and 90 is obviously more than 56. So we can set up another equation. We can say that one of the side lengths, one of the legs, 56 squared, plus the other side length, which we defined as x squared, is equal to the hypotenuse squared, which we said was 90 squared. We can isolate x squared. X squared is equal to, we have to subtract 56 squared from this side to get it over here. It's equal to 90 squared minus 56 squared, squared. And we can solve for x squared. X squared is equal to, okay, 90 squared minus 56 squared is equal to 4964. So 4964 is equal to x squared. And to solve for x, we have to take the square root of both sides. So x is equal to square root of 4964. Or, in other terms, x is approximately, let's do this on the calculator, square root of, 4964. X is approximately 70.5. 70.5. You know, that's in like units. We don't know what that is. So there are two values that x could be. X could either be 106 units. I should probably write units. Or it could be 70.5 units. So I hope this is helpful with regards to finding the side lengths of a given triangle.